How's it going, Internet? And welcome to The Rat Trap. So, I want to talk about Sony's press conference. It is perhaps the best press conference I've ever seen. Ever at E3. So, let's go ahead and start with what they started off with first. They started with a orchestra performance of one of the songs, I think from God of War, which they next showed off right after the song. And God of War is set in Norse mythology. And goddamn, Kratos with a beard is awesome. It looks a lot more brutal than the past game. I loved God of War, but my biggest problem was the combat was arcadey. This looks like it's fixing a lot of those problems. I mean, Norse mythology is perhaps my favorite mythology. It's just, and Kratos as a kid? I mean, what? Yes, I want this. The fact that it's not called God of War 4 and God of War 1 or it's just called God of War is interesting. Makes sense, considering how long it's been between them. It's just, yes, that is the best way to open a press conference, with a new God of War. And the announcements just kept coming from Sony. The next game they showed off was Sony Bend's game, which they have been quiet. They're up in Bend, Oregon, which is like the middle of nowhere, so no one ever goes and talks to them, and there's no leaks about anything they're doing comparatively to other companies. And they've been quiet since the launch of the Vita. And they come out and announce Days Gone, which looks like it's going to be a zombie outbreak, but with Last of Us. So Last of Us had the whole fungus stuff. This is zombies, and it's amazing. This game, it's interesting because Uncharted 4 changed the way cinematic storytelling can be done in the set piece style, and Days Gone, which according to the press release stuff is an open world zombie game. It'll be interesting to see how they take on the role of the cinematic storytelling in it. But you know, both God of War and Days Gone opened the conference. That's just amazing, really. And next, they gave us a release date for a game that has been in development for so long that it was almost vaporware at this point. The Last Guardian. It's coming out in October, on the 25th, and it still looks awesome. They even showed off other beasts and some other stuff, and I'm ready to play that game. I mean, wow. Still a little hesitant on that one. It's been in development forever, but it looks amazing. Then you move right along to Horizon Zero Dawn, which I was already excited for. I like the idea of post-apocalypse, where we've started to come back after the apocalypse. And when they did a live demo of it, and at first I was going like, is this Far Cry? And then they showed the map, and then I realized it's Far Cry, but with robotic dinosaurs, or with robotic animals. And I love the idea of it. It's just, is it possible to go into a coma until February 28th? Wake up that exact day? Cryogenic freezing or something? So I want to play that game. Like, I've never liked Guerrilla. They do the Killzone series, but this is the game. I'm ready to play this game. I know I'm gushing over these games, but Sony has always been my favorite developer, publisher, because they always come up with big games. Even The Order 1886 and Bloodborne, which Bloodborne people like, but I didn't. And The Order 1886 people didn't like, but I liked that one. I still, even though those two are like, I didn't care for Bloodborne, I love the aesthetic. And same with Order 1886. I like the story, even though it was short. It's just, these games that they're showing off is like, will they be good? Probably not. I mean, Days Gone is a zombie game. Some people are fatigued by it. but I'm ready for it. God of War, we'll see. Currently, it looks amazing, but you never know going forward, because it looks like it's less arcadey than previously. But then, let's keep moving on. We just talked about Horizon Zero Dawn, which will be amazing. I'm ready to play that game in February. To Detroit Become Human. They showed this game off first in Paris Games Week, and it was interesting. It was Android. Like, androids are starting to become self-aware, almost. Like, why are we serving? And this one showed off an even more interesting part where there were hundreds of different ways to tackle one section of it. And it went through each of them, almost. Like a good amount of them. And how sometimes this android would fall off the roof. Sometimes he'd surrender. Sometimes he would kill the child that he's holding hostage. And it was amazing to watch. I'm ready to play this game. I don't think they showed a release date, but I mean, David Cage has a bad history in games. He made games that are not really games to some people. Like Heavy Rain is probably the most gamey he ever had, and then Beyond Two Souls is not. I like them all, or both of those. I don't know about his other ones. I think it's Indigo Fahrenheit or something like that. I don't know. But Detroit Become Human, amazing. I mean, the graphics look amazing. All these games that are exclusive always look amazing. But I want to know the story of this one. I love stories in games, and this one looks intriguing. Next, they showed off a game that had been rumored beforehand, especially considering what Capcom said at their financial report. But to see it actually come back from the dead is not really the dead, but come back in a big way. Resident Evil 7. And it's not just going to be Resident Evil 7. It's going to be Resident Evil 7 in VR as well as non-VR. The VR portion will be the Nope of video games, where I will probably try it and then put it away, never to play that game ever again. Because anything that happens in VR, from what I understand, is a lot scarier because you have nowhere to react against what's happening. And my biggest thing with VR was it was only experiences, and this is supposed to be a full experience. So the full game, from what it sounds like. And so that means that there's actually a game for VR. Not just some experience that you play once or twice or 3 times and you keep repeating, but an actual game. And that just excites me to no end. And we even got a release date. I didn't think we'd get a release date if Resident Evil even showed up. It's coming out in January 24th. I mean, it's probably because Capcom has had some really good luck in January. Like Resident Evil Remake came out in January 2 years ago, I think. And then Zero last year, or this year. I don't remember. But they've been having good luck in January, so that probably is why it's coming out then. Plus, you don't want to compete with the people that are coming out in the fall, especially like Call of Duty and whatnot. And right after that, oh yeah, and let's just say, it's pretty obvious, Resident Evil 7 looks awesome. I'm a little interested to see how they do zombies, and if there are zombies. I mean, Resident Evil is interesting in that when they first started it, it was planned like zombies would be this game, and then they were going to go to ghosts, I think it was, or poltergeist or something. And they didn't do it, so I'm interested to see if they decide to go that route or what they're going to do. The trailer they had at the conference gave me PT vibes. If you remember PT, which was Silent Hills, that was terrifying. I just want to know more about Resident Evil. They have a demo. I'm going to play it, but until I play it, I don't know what it's about. So let's move right along to PlayStation VR. I think they announced the price previously. It's $400, but I think today they announced the release date. It's coming in October. And apparently there will be 50, air quotes, games before the end of the year. I doubt there will be 50 games. They're probably going to be experiences, so take that with a grain of salt. But it's nice having the price point. I like that it's affordable. I'm a little worried now that they've been or that the rumor or that before the conference they announced that the Neo is real. So that might hurt it a little bit in that I'm not going to spend money on VR until I know if the Neo is real, because my PlayStation 4 is kind of crapping out on me, or it sounds like a jet airplane, and so I need to replace it. But VR, I mean, this conference just with Resident Evil made me understand that VR is worth it. Even if I might not play it very much, I want to play Resident Evil in VR in any other game. Which brings me to the games they showed off for VR. One of them was Farpoint, I guess, which was a first-person shooter-looking game. I don't really know because the trailer was weird, but it looks interesting, and I want to play it. They showed off Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing mission, which will be an interesting experience, but it's not a game. Unless it's like 20, 30, or 40 missions, with varying degrees of skill and whatnot. But I doubt it. I think it's probably just like a technical experience. Then they had Batman Arkham VR, which I have no idea how that's going to work. They didn't really show off much, but it'll be interesting. Then they showed off Final Fantasy, which at first I was going like, oh, Final Fantasy is just here. They're going to show off their trailer. VR thing has ended. But then they announced that Final Fantasy 15 has a VR experience where you play as Prompto, I think is his name, the gun dude. And I'm already getting Final Fantasy 15. I have it pre-ordered, everything. Don't pre-order games. Oh, well, fuck it. I pre-ordered plenty of them. But I'm hoping it comes with the game, like it's on the disc or something. And I want to play it. I mean, I love Final Fantasy, and VR Final Fantasy would be amazing. Well, let's see, what else do they have? After that, they had that weird... They didn't really have a transition between the VR stuff and then back to normal games. And then they showed off Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which I know a lot of people are giving it hate. I actually think it is the most interesting Call of Duty I have seen in years. It's so different. At first, it was like, what is this game? It wasn't until I saw them starting to go with the ship, the Jagger or whatever, that I was like, oh yeah, this is Call of Duty. But up until then, it was like, what is this? Is this a new exclusive or something? I mean, I'm interested. I'm really hoping... My thing with Call of Duty is their campaigns are action movies, but they're horrible action movies. I really want to see them explore a more in-depth campaign with now their 3-year development cycle. I mean, they've pretty much perfected their multiplayer at this point. There are little minor tweaks and everything, and they have teams within their studios between Tetrarch, Sledgehammer, and Infinity Ward. They each have teams for multiplayer to balance it. That I want to see them go all out and make actual campaigns that are not just like 3-hour game. I want to see like a 13-hour experience. Like Uncharted 4 has multiplayer plus like a 13-hour experience. And their multiplayer isn't bad. It's actually really good. So I really want to see Call of Duty do that. I don't think they're going to do that with this one. But it'll be interesting to see how this one does, actually. Because a lot of people are hating on it. I want to play it. I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan. I don't play much of the multiplayer. But I'm extremely interested to see this game. And I'm probably going to get it, but, Then they showed off the Modern Warfare remaster, which, we're bringing it back. Bringing back Modern War. It's just, I didn't play it, so I have no opinion on it. I'm going to play it when it comes out. But until then, don't have nothing for that. So let's move right along to a what the fuck moment of the conference. Crash Bandicoot is back. The PS1 mascot is back. In Skylanders, he's going to be part of Skylanders, He's one of the Toys to Life things. He's a new character for it. It's a really big push, They also announced that they're remastering the original 3, Crash Bandicoot, Warped, and I think it's Cortex something. I don't know. I didn't play them. I've only dabbled with these games, but I understand the cultural significance of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, the highbrow shit. No. I want to play them. If they actually tweak the controls to make it more new player friendly and make it actually fully remastered, not just a half-assed one, this could be really, really interesting. And I think it's testing the waters to see if people actually want a new Crash. So we'll see. Next up, there is Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which it looks cool like all Lego games. I mean, Lego is a great series, but I don't know. I'm gonna play it. I mean, I play them all, but I'm not that excited for it. I still haven't seen Force Awakens, so I don't really have any focal point for it. I play more games than watch movies, so we'll see. Probably gonna watch the movie before I play this one, though. I don't have much on Lego Star Wars. It looks interesting. The voice acting seemed off, like they're just pulling from the movie, which is sad. I like their original voice cast stuff. That's always better. Next up, we have something many people are saying, like, no, there's no chance of Hideo Kojima showing up. We got to see Hideo Kojima's next game, effectively. It's called Death Stranding, whatever that means. And it stars Norman Reedus, and it seems to be... I'm not even going to speculate on it. I have no idea what happened in that trailer. I just know Norman Reedus is in it. He was naked in the trailer, which was a little awkward, but still. And it could be a new Metal Gear. It could be Silent Hills. It could be something completely brand new. It could be a mix of both. It could be anything, really. Now, don't get your hopes up to play it anytime soon. It's probably a 2018 at the earliest, maybe 2020. I'd say between 2018 to 21 is when we'll see this game. But it looks awesome. And with Hideo Kojima in the lead, I'm not the biggest fan of Metal Gear Solid 5. I know he can do good when he's given time. And he wasn't on 5, but if he's given the amount of time he needs, it could be amazing. Next up, we have Spider-Man. Spider-Man, a PS4 exclusive Spider-Man game made by perhaps my favorite developer, Insomniac. I mean, they made Sunset Overdrive, which I still haven't played, but I really, really want to. When I get an Xbox, that's my day one purchase. When I have the Xbox. But they also made Ratchet and Clank, and they're good with momentum-based games, but they're making a Spider-Man game, and it's like, oh my god. Spider-Man? I have no words for that. I don't know who's going to be in it, what type of villains will be in it, but I want to play it. I really do. I'm guessing it'll be out next year, because the movie Spider-Man Homecoming comes out. They'll probably try to launch it in the summer, because it's coming out in July, so I'm guessing it's a July game next year, or an August or September game next year. As Insomniac, they're a little weird, in that they have this year they had 2 big games, Edge of Nowhere and Ratchet and Clank, that came out. And they also have 4 or 5 other VR games they're working on. Or at least I think it's 4 VR, and then they have Song of the Deep with GameStop. And now they have this Spider-Man game. So it could be out next year, or it could be out the year after. I have no idea, because I don't know how big their team is. Do they have multiple teams or what? I don't know on that. That'll be something I have to look up. I don't know. But I'm ready to play a Spider-Man game, and I hope it's good. I mean, I hope beyond hope. I have faith in the team because they make really good games, but we've had so many bad Spider-Man games. This could be the Batman Arkham of Spider-Man. So they decided at the end to end on Days Gone live demo. A lot of people were like, oh, it doesn't look that good or stuff when they were talking about it. It's like, because it's a zombie game, and we've had so many. At first I was like, oh, it's The Last of Us. But they hadn't shown zombies in the initial trailer. But this was intense. At first it was like nothing's going on. And then you see this little baby looking thing. It looks like an imp. I was going, is it demons? And then you see the horde of demons. If you ever seen World War Z, that's what it reminded me of like all these zombies running at you. And it's like, oh my god, you're getting taken on by all these. You don't even need like regular enemies coming at you. You have tons of these things. Shooting all of them? I mean, how? It's just, wow. I mean, I'm unhappy they didn't show a release date for this game, but that demo sold me on that game. They don't have to show much more for me. That sold me. I just like the idea of hundreds of zombies all running at me, trying to kill me. It's just, many games they have zombies, but they're like, oh, here's a zombie. This was, they are coming at you. You have a gun. You can either shoot or run the fuck away. I just love that idea. I like that they're actually a focal point. And it seems they're playing as a motorcycle gang bounty hunter, I guess, which is interesting. But that was awesome. So that's all they showed. I mean, they also had... No, they didn't really have anything else. They didn't even have They had an end montage that showed off a couple things, but they didn't really have anything else. So overall, I'm going to give you my grade on the conference. I have to give it an A. I mean, literally, an A. Number one, they showed off games. They focused on games. There was no... The only time they really talked about any sort of financial stuff, it was during the PSVR thing, and then they didn't say anything. They showed trailer after trailer. They didn't have people come out and talk about the game. People would do that when they talk to like IGN or GameSpot or whoever they're talking to give interviews. So that's already going to happen, so why do it in a press conference? They made it a experience instead of just a conference. Like, the thing is people keep saying E3 is dying. This is what you need to do to make E3 relevant. Make your conference an experience. This was an experience, not a religious experience, no, but make it like Sony has allowed you to actually go to theaters to see PSX, and I think you could go to theaters to see this. And you need to make it in a cinematic experience. Like, it's something you would be willing to sit in a theater to watch with the lights off, the surround sound from the theater. And that's what they did. They pulled it off. They showed off, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably, goddamn, so many I lost count already. They showed off a whole ton of exclusives, which they needed, like, really bad. Well, they didn't really need, but we wanted them bad, and they showed them off. They were like, you've been asking for exclusives. Here's exclusives. You want to Crash Bandicoot? Here's Crash Bandicoot. You want to see Hideo Kojima's next game? Here's Hideo Kojima's next game. You wanted to see... I don't know. You wanted to know when VR is coming out? It's coming out this. They were like, bam, bam, bam with their announcements. They didn't stop. Like, it was a roller coaster ride. At first, it was like, okay, we're getting ready. The orchestra thing picks up, shows off God of War, and it's like, okay, it's going to be downhill from here. No, it went up, kept staying there for Days Gone and everything else. That's why I give it an A. I know some people probably wouldn't. Like, it didn't, for some people, it didn't end strong. It ended strong for me because I like Days Gone. I think it's an interesting new IP, and I'm really intrigued by what it could offer. So that's really all I have on the Sony press conference. I'm looking forward to seeing how these games develop over time. But that's all I have. Have a nice day.